Good morning, everyone. And as said, Herantis Pharma. My name is Pekka Simula, CEO for Herantis, and our focus is in regenerative medicine. And we're a public company, and our focus is really in assets based on leading science. So that's where our own principles are based on. We want to focus on assets that have a very solid scientific background, and also our own work still focuses on close collaboration with our scientific fathers. Our assets are CDNF, aiming to stop progression of Parkinson's disease, and Lymfactin, aimed as the first curative treatment of lymphedema. So very bold undertakings, but as said, based on very strong science. As BioWorld said in their recent company profile, based on two academic superstars, which absolutely amused our two professors, but it's very well said. So our two assets, first of all, CDNF, aiming to stop Parkinson's disease progression. You all know what Parkinson's disease is. It's a huge challenge, and what we like to emphasize in this slide is the fact that it's been estimated that a disease-stopping treatment, so not a curative treatment, but something to stop progression of Parkinson's, would save the society over $400,000 in the US per patient. So it's a really expensive disease for the societies as well. And that's exactly what we are aiming at with our CDNF. Here are some slides from a non-human primate data. These are severe MPTP lesion model of Parkinson's disease in a rhesus monkey model. And as you can see, it's a very severe model of Parkinson's disease. The panel on the left shows you that there's an almost 80% loss of dopaminergic neurons after the lesioning. And after just 3 monthly doses of CDNF, we're able to see a significant restoration of the dopaminergic function. So CDNF can really potently rejuvenate the dying dopaminergic neurons, help them regain their phenotype and start them producing dopamine again. This very nicely correlated with improvement in both gross motor function and fine motor function. And very excitingly, it also resulted in improvement in non-motor symptoms. This study was done in collaboration with the University of Pittsburgh. They have great expertise in this severe Parkinson's model, and in their experience, they have never seen anything before that's also able to alleviate the non-motor symptoms. So these Parkinsonian monkeys are very apathic. And after CDNF treatment, they started looking for food again in their cage. They started again to react to their caretakers and so forth. So this is a very exciting observation that has then led us to our first clinical study, which also is a clinical proof of concept study. So we're currently in a phase 1/2 study, randomized placebo-controlled study in patients with Parkinson's disease. This study is funded by the European Union by a prestigious Horizon 2020 grant based on the assessment by the European Commission that it's based on leading science and has the strongest potential to advance clinical practice. Now, CDNF is a protein. It doesn't pass the blood-brain barrier, and therefore in this first clinical study we are administering CDNF with a very sophisticated device, very much like deep brain stimulation, which has a high acceptance in Parkinson's disease. But instead of the electricity, we are infusing CDNF directly into the brain. This study is currently ongoing. We're very excited to see its results next year. But of course, even though the device has a high acceptance in Parkinson's disease, it would limit the applicability of CDNF in further neurodegenerative diseases. And that's why we are really excited about the next generation non-invasive CDNF. This was another recent discovery at the University of Helsinki by our close collaborators, and Here we have already shown that a subcutaneous administration of this next generation CDNF is as efficacious in a rat model of Parkinson's disease as the directly infused intracerebral CDNF has been in the past. So this, of course, opens a huge opportunity, not just in Parkinson's disease, but also in other neurodegenerative diseases, if we reach a clinical proof of concept next year in our ongoing study. So that's CDNF for Parkinson's disease. Our other asset is Lymfactin, a gene therapy for the treatment of secondary lymphedema, targeted as the first curative treatment. Lymphedema is, of course, not as well known a disease as Parkinson's, but on the other hand, it's surprisingly common. It's estimated that over 100 million patients in the world suffer from lymphedema. And it's a huge quality of life issue. In breast cancer patients who develop lymphedema, it's been estimated that the distress brought about by secondary lymphedema is as bad as the initial diagnosis of breast cancer. The timing is also very exciting in our development because over just the past couple of years, this space has gained a lot of visibility and awareness. Partially thanks to very brave patients such as the Hollywood superstar Kathy Bates, who has herself lymphedema associated with breast cancer and who has bravely given her face for the fight against lymphedema. So this is a gene therapy at really in the core of regenerative medicine, aimed at repairing damages that are causing lymphedema. So it's a simple gene therapy vector coding for VEGF-C, the human growth factor highly specific for lymphangiogenesis. And very simply because lymphedema is caused by a damage in the lymphatic system, we're injecting this gene therapy in the damaged area where it's been shown already in preclinical studies that VEGF-C expression very potently results in the sprouting of lymphatic capillaries, which will then eventually mature into collecting lymphatic vessels and eventually, as we believe, help significantly to alleviate the symptoms or even cure secondary lymphedema. We've completed a phase 1 study already in this space and are now in a phase 2 randomized placebo-controlled study in breast cancer-associated lymphedema. It's a naive market. There are no competitive products. There are no approved pharmacological treatments for secondary lymphedema. So also in that regard, it's a very important emerging market. So just to summarize this brief presentation, we have two assets, both based on high impact science. Professor Saarma and Professor Alitalo are our close collaborators who are the brains behind these assets, as dubbed by BioWorld the academic superstars based at the University of Helsinki. And we also have a very strong board of directors and advisory board helping us move forward, which of course is really helpful for a fairly early stage startup based in a distant corner of Europe in Helsinki, Finland. And the investment opportunity, what we're currently looking for is funding to help move forward toward the next stage, toward the pivotal studies. So we're now considering opening a funding round for the growth stage, preparing these assets for commercial production scale, as well as getting ready for the next clinical studies. And of course, very importantly, also move forward with the next generation non-invasive CDNF.
Excellent.
Thank you. Any questions?